Even though I have yet to watch The Chosen Season 4 in its entirety, since the episodes haven't arrived on streaming yet, I still cannot look away from all the BTS pictures and videos being released by Dallas Jenkins and The Chosen's social media team. Despite knowing what Season 5 is going to be about, more or less, some of these videos actually reveal a few things I haven't really expected. For example, the famous agony in the garden that occurs after the Last Supper and before Jesus is arrested can actually be seen in The Chosen much sooner than I expected, specifically in episode 1. You might say it's not possible, but hear me out. Dallas has been known to change the timeline of certain events to make things more dramatic and sometimes make them fit the filming timeline. So we can see Jesus with his 3 disciples in the Garden of Gethsemane in Season 5, Episode 1. Let's see how. Before I show you the BTS videos in question, let me quickly remind you of the significance of this garden. The Garden of Gethsemane is known as a place that was quite important to Jesus. He was known to retreat there to pray. The garden is a little outside the center of Jerusalem. It's mentioned by name only twice in the Bible, but more references are made throughout the New Testament as a place Jesus frequented. In both Matthew and Mark, it is noted that Jesus took 3 of his closest disciples, Peter, James, and John, there to pray. He wanted them to sit and keep watch as he prayed. As Jesus acknowledged his sadness over what was about to come, he prayed all night. But when he checked to see whether his disciples were awake and keeping watch, he was disappointed to see each time that they had fallen asleep. The Gospels recount how Jesus asked them whether they were still sleeping, and finally, he said that the hour for his betrayal had come. Of course, this was where Judas would come and betray Jesus. According to these accounts, this specific scene should happen after the Last Supper, which I know we'll see in Season 5. I even think the season will end with Jesus' arrest after Judas' betrayal, but new behind-the-scenes footage shows another trajectory for the garden scene. In one video, Jesus is seen talking to 3 disciples, John, Peter, and Andrew, in a place with many trees. I'm guessing these are olive trees and the characters are supposed to be in the garden. Jesus is sitting down as the others are standing up. In another picture showing behind the scenes of the exact moment, there's also Big James. So it's Jesus with 4 disciples, Peter, Andrew, Big James, and John. I believe this is a scene from episode 1 because the disciples' clothes are the same as they were in Season 4's finale, with Jesus too wearing the same shawl he put on.
And the life. No matter what happens, I want you to know that in this world, I loved you as my own.
Later in the season, the disciples will get new cloaks as they enter Jerusalem. They will have to hide and be more cautious not to draw attention to themselves. But they don't have those cloaks in this scene, which makes me think this is a scene from episode 1 with them on the way to Jerusalem, right? Could this be a scene at the Garden of Gethsemane? It's a possibility. In the Gospels, Jesus is with 3 of his disciples, but here it's 4. This could be an addition by Dallas or the other writers. There's also a chance that this is not the agony scene where Jesus asks his disciples to keep watch over him as he prays. Perhaps Dallas wanted to add another scene in the garden before they arrived at the city. Or he changed the order of the events and the praying scene in the garden is happening right before they arrive in Jerusalem. That would actually make sense, Jesus warning his disciples and being disappointed in them just before they enter a city that will be too dangerous for them. What are your thoughts? Do you think it's possible we'll see a scene in the garden right in episode 1? I'd love to hear your theories in the comments below. As a fan, I'm filled with a mix of anticipation and dread at the thought of witnessing the disciples' repeated failures to fully comprehend Jesus' teachings and the impending events. The scene where they fall asleep as Jesus prays in agony is bound to be a heart-wrenching moment. I'm particularly eager to see how Jonathan will bring out the emotions of disappointment and anger in his betrayal. The upcoming Season 6 with Peter's denial of Jesus also promises to be a deeply emotional watch. It's the emotional depth of these portrayals that truly makes The Chosen a compelling series. Anyway, I think things will work out with a scene in the garden at the beginning of the season and then another one at the end. It would also be poetic actually, think about it. At the beginning of Season 5, Jesus warns his closest disciples about what will come and how things will be too dangerous. And when the end of season 5 comes, they are still clueless about what's going on, falling asleep even though they are supposed to keep watch. This cluelessness on the disciples' part has been a big theme of season 4, and I think it will continue in season 5 as well. Starting the season in the garden with a warning and ending the episodes with the betrayal itself again in the garden would be fantastic storytelling. But these are all my opinions. If you think something else would be better, please don't hesitate to share it with me in the comments below. Check out this video if you want to have fun after all this depressing information. It has some funny stuff about the chosen cast. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. See you soon.